Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Mel Hambelton Ford. My name is Phil Nightingale. I'm the general manager, and Josh Prophet, our service director. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
Beautiful Saturday morning out there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Another, every day we have a day like this is one less day we have crappy weather to get to spring. So I'm all for it.
Very true. Morning, Jeff. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching in. Calling in. We ain't got no callers yet. What's up with that?
Well, they're getting ready to. You're just thinking them in advance.
Hey, Delbert's in Palm Beach, Florida. What are you doing down there, Delbert?
That, sunny and 70 there.
More howdy. Yeah, probably exactly right. Hey, it's a call-in show. 316-462-3673. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, whatever it might be, you want to talk about anything in the automobile world, let me know, let Josh know, questions, whatever might happen. We're here to answer your questions. But most importantly, give you the great price package about over $130. We need to reevaluate that 130. I think we're a little light on that.
So deal. I'm just about out of the cards, and I think we're gonna do something different. So yeah, we'll have to see what we come up with for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, anyway, let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. And as always, Josh, what's in that package?
So we're going to mail it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We're going to use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete multi-point inspection, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components that just make sure that vehicle's ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the Big Corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which is going to consist of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. So.
All right, 316-462-3673. And, your daughter has an ankle surgery. Well, sorry about that, buddy. Hope she's getting better there, Delbert. So hope that's not a bad situation. Hope it's an okay situation.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, Josh, some things I did yesterday.
Yeah, walk us through yesterday.
Well, I kind of want to. Yeah, I'm going to go down that road too, but there's some other things that I thought about and everything else too is, yes, we took the Team 3J, went over to BG yesterday and put the car on the dyno. And then the thing is, that's the first dirt car of any sort they put on that dyno. So we had a heck of a time getting it set up and working because normally they just hook up a connector to the OBD terminal and be able to pick up a lot of data.
Uh-huh.
Well, we couldn't figure out how to get the RPM to the dyno to get it to work.
Read on the dyno. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did all kinds of stuff. We ended up having to bolt a optic sensor on the block to go down and point down to the crankshaft and put a piece of special tape on there, reflective tape, to get it to pick up the RPM and stuff too. And it was quite a little chore because it took us probably 2 hours before we even got the first good pull in on the car to kind of see what it was doing. But we had a fun day. We learned a lot of stuff. I want to go back again now that we've learned what we're at on the way back home. We made a couple phone calls to some of our I don't know, call them sponsors or suppliers or whatever you want to call it, about different things and stuff. So we're going to go back again. We got a couple more things we want to try. But I was standing over there, and of course, a lot of the people from BG came out to see the car, see the stuff and everything. And we started talking about, the fuel that's in the car, all the things we do. And of course, just lots of questions because there's so many people don't realize what goes on in a dirt track race, how much it really takes to adjust the car, tune the car, all that kind of stuff. And that's really what we was kind of trying to do yesterday, is trying to tune the car better and do different things to see what it was doing. Plus, I have 2 motors, and I wanted to find out if one of the motors was weak.
Yeah.
Guess what I found out? Neither one of them are weak. You went in pretty salty motors still. So I was worried I was going to have to buy a motor or 2 or something for next year and stuff like that. But as of right now, it looks like we don't have to. But anyway, Darren came out and was talking to me about some of their programs and stuff. And we don't realize that the deposits that our cars build so quickly, so fast, and everything else from that part. Anyway, they had taken over one of our 24 Mustangs, and it had 42 miles on it. And we're going to do a few tests and stuff on it. And he showed me the picture of already at those many miles is the deposits that are already starting to build inside that motor.
That's crazy,
isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, we don't think about that in that part from that deal. So we're going to do some more testing. We're going to run some of the same products through those race motors and do some more tests with them, trying to see what, get them warm, run a compression check, then run the EPR through the oil and all that kind of stuff, drain it out, and then go back and do another compression check and see if we changed anything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with the race cars. We know what it does on passenger cars. They showed me several tests over there yesterday where compression was everywhere from 30 to 40 pounds difference on these cylinders. They run the EPR through the car, come back, run a compression check. Guess what? Compression's higher on all of them, but they're even.
I think that's the main important part is, as far as the steady performance all the way through the engine.
So that's what we don't realize is the fuel we have today and the hot engines we run and how quickly that those deposits can start building. And if you don't start from day one, starting to do something to preventative maintenance these engines, they're just not going to, they will still live. Don't get me wrong, but they will live so much longer if you do some preventative maintenance with these engines. So that's why I kind of,
well, and in your particular situation, I mean, you're looking for every bit of horsepower you can get.
Exactly. Well, and with our engines in the way these IMC modifieds are set up, we are so close. I mean, it's a driver's game and stuff like that too. But if you can find just a little bit here and a little bit there and all that kind of stuff, it's going to make a difference all over.
Sure.
So that's what we're going to do. I talked to Ryan. I know he's been on the show a couple times, and talked to him yesterday on the way home, and he's going to have some products over here for us Monday. So we're going to start on Monday. We're going to get after it, see what we can find out and what we can do with those two motors. And of course, we had a great time over there yesterday. All the great BG people and everybody that came over and watched and helped. And
yeah, when you were headed over there yesterday, I was thinking, man, I don't know, as far as like strapping that thing down to the dyno, there's not really a so-called solid frame, I guess, really for the most part under that car. And so I thought that would be definitely interesting too.
They looked at me and I said, just tie it to the front bumper. It'll be just fine. I said, look, I pull it in the trailer with that, and we tie it on the trailer with the front bumper. I said, just pull it up. They looked at me kind of funny. I said, trust me, that'll work. We went to the back. Of course, we did some suspension changes to the car.
Yeah.
Because, on the dirt cars, the left rear hikes up and gets going and stuff. So we did some stuff to the suspension to stop that, so the car would set steady and solid on the dyno, which was a little bit of a trick to figure that out. Then I got worried because driveline angle. Because a lot of people don't realize that when the car is sitting there normal, the driveline angle is all jacked up, because then when it gets going and the car raises up, then the driveline angle gets correct. So we had to adjust driveline angle and everything else in the back of that car to get it to where it was smooth.
Yeah.
And not basically, if you have the driveline angle messed up and you start running that thing as fast as we were running,
out of balance.
We tear some stuff up pretty quick. So, but
you got a lot of stuff, a lot of centrifugal force flying around there for sure.
Yeah. So then I thought we were about done doing some testing, and the buddy called me and said, "Hey, I want you to do this and this." And I thought for a minute, I said, that's a great idea. I wish I'd have thought of that, but I didn't. So we did 2 more pulls again, and it blew me away. I can't wait to go. I've got all the charts printed off and everything to go sit down with Buddy and show him what we did, where we were at, and all that kind of stuff, because I know he's got some more ideas too, what we want to go do. But it's not just a matter of horsepower of the engine. It is, don't get me wrong, it is, but it's also how that motor is tuned and how it runs, and then how you got to get that power to the ground.
Well, and where it comes in at too.
You got another good point there. It's kind of like everybody wanted to, the BG guys posted a couple of videos of the car and everyone wanted to see the numbers. And of course, Thomas says, this in the racing world, you don't kiss and tell from that part. But that's another thing we did learn about the power band of the two. That is different. The two motors do have a different power band. They do have that. That is for sure. There's a different way when that power comes on. And I'm going to tell you, the other thing is, it's also where the power fades off.
Yeah.
When you get that RPM and everything else too, from where you can see it, and even it's fun to sit there and listen to the motor. We can be right next to it when it's going through its RPMs. On a racetrack, you really can't do that because you stand at one end of the track or whatever. And I'm going to tell you, the first motor, the older motor that we have, you could really hear it, what we call labor. When it got up into that higher RPMs, you could hear it just kind of fall off. And even though the RPM kept going, you could just hear it. That it just
getting louder, but just not producing the pull.
Yeah, just didn't. So, but again, you've got to have RPM to spin the tires as fast as you need to go.
Well, and then, I mean, there's so much of that by the time you kind of got the motor figured out, then now you're talking about suspension and being able to plan it and get traction on it. But then you go from there to your differential and your gearing and stuff like that. And I mean, there's just so many variables that go into this deal.
And that you're right, Josh. And so here's the next thing we realized too is we were always going to the tracks thinking of what gear we need to run per track. Well, guess what we figured out yesterday? It's not just the track. It's which motor do we got in that car, where we got to gear it to put it in this power band and where it needs to be. I mean, just a little bit. And you think about gearing, I mean, just 10 points of gear is about all it takes in these cars to change that. So that's the other thing we really learned is which motor needs what gear, where the RPM's at and all that kind of stuff too, to know where to gear that. And that's kind of where Buddy called me to say, hey, do this and this and tell me those numbers. And so I can't wait to sit down with him and say, okay, here's when you asked me to do this, here's these, and here's what we did when we did this with these.
And the outcome to that. Yeah.
And being able to, so when we do go to different tracks now, and granted, each track does take a different gear because of the, the length of the straightaways and the corners and all that kind of stuff too. But you still, now that we know where that power band's at, hey, look out. We got a little bit of a, and the next thing is we could be, even though we know where the power band is, are we going to know we're going to hit that power band on the track? We could we could still miss the gear. And that's the thing is after you run your heat race and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next. Are you going to change gears? You're going to change tires? You're going to change shocks? What are you going to change?
Adjust suspension
adjust the suspension for that next race. And watch that track how it turns and does and everything. So it's always a guessing game. And there's a couple times this year, we just flat out
just lost it.
We missed that setup so bad. That old car was terrible and everything else like that too.
Well, then I don't know. You get on it in some situations. What was it, Boone, that you guys ran it that day or kind of midday, and you weren't on it again until
that first day we ran it like
midnight or whatever. After
I think we ran it at 11 o'clock or something. I can't remember exact times, but it was early in the day. And we were not back on that racetrack until 1 in the morning the next day.
And so the track, I'm sure, it changed so much. But then you got atmospheric conditions as well,
all that stuff
that go into that. So
that's some of the other things we're going to look into too. Is going into doing how to tune the car by temperature, by weather, all that kind of stuff too, to kind of keep helping try to get better and stuff. Because I'm still telling you, these IMCA cars, we all run the same basic motors. There's a few guys out there running the open motors and stuff like that, which we tried and everything else too. But when they're running that crate motor, that's a sealed motor that you really can't touch. All you can do is change valve springs in that car. Is about all you can really do on and spark plugs. That's about all you can really do to those motors because you can't open them up. Mm-hmm. But now we know kind of, as I really thought the older motor would be weak or tired or ready to be replaced or whatever. And I'm going to tell you if it was weak enough and everything else, like I was going to tear it apart. I just want to see inside of it.
Yeah.
Granted, is it junk motor then? Can't do anything with it? Yeah, it pretty much is. But if it was worn out enough and stuff like that too, then I would love to have torn it apart and just see what the pistons look like, see what the cylinder walls look like, and see how that does and everything else too. But I'm excited to see what the EPR is going to do, like we do when we do a GDI oil service here on your car when you're driving, coming in our quick lane and stuff. I can't wait to see what this does for the race car engine.
The compression across the board.
See what the compression does and all that kind of stuff too. So,
and the biggest thing I think of, well, and I think that's where you're headed with this when we started off the show, is when you think of sludge buildup and things like that, you think of basically a distance of time, and that's going to accrue over mileage and, as a car gets older, but it's really about heat cycles. That's what's going to produce it. Every time that engine heats up and then cools back off and stuff like that. And especially in your particular situation, it goes out and there's no cruising down Kellogg in that thing. When it's going, it's running hard. I don't know how many times I've asked Jake or Jake's asked, can I drive it over there? Or can I drive it over there? Can I drive it on the trailer? No, you start it and you run it and you shut it off. And, and so when that thing's on, when it's going, it's going.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing we did. We just for some numbers, we have a rev limiter of 6,800 RPM, and so we started the RPMs yesterday. We started the dynos at 3,000, and then we took off and went all the way to the 6,800 mark to give that test. And remember, that motor's running that high RPM all the time. It's about on the cautions and a parade laps. 1,500 RPMs like you're doing cruising around. But when it's wide open, or it's 3,000 to 6,800, 3,000 to 6,800. That's a lot of more wear and stress on your motor than what you think you do in your car, in your passenger car motors.
Certainly.
But I think once we run those compressions and see what that does, it's going to blow me away. I think we're going to really be surprised on that part. But again, everybody accuses me of changing the oil too often on those motors. Well, I hate to tell you, no, I'm not changing how often I change it. GM, we lost our screen back there. That's my fault. I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, GM recommends to change that oil every 5 to 6 races. Woo! No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm not gonna go that long. And that's the same difference you guys in your passenger cars. 5,000 miles. That's the interval.
Well, and that's like using the oil indicator light and go until 15 or 12, 15,000 miles. That's just, it's crazy to do that.
Yeah, I know. And I had a deal just the other day. A lady called me and said, "Hey, my oil light just come on. Can I get it? Oil change? Yeah, get it in here. Let's get it done." 12,000 miles. 12,000. I mean, I can't tell you. I can't stress you enough. Let me go into another deal. We were down there at BG because they test a lot of motors and stuff like that too. And remember, your oil is what's cooling your engine. It's not the coolant that's cooling your engine. The coolant is cooling down your oils, basically what's happening too. But your oil is what's doing the most of the cooling in your engine. And BG has realized too, and that's why I always didn't really I always thought the lower viscosity oils, going to a 520 or whatever, was just a thinner oil from that part. But they have discovered that running those lighter weight oils, the oil doesn't get as hot. It's cooling better is what they've found out. And they've done the same motor test with a 530, and then they went to a 1540. And under stress, and again, stress conditions, the 1540 is getting hot. The oil is getting hotter than it is with the 5W30. And I think it's just, again, it's thinner oil. It's getting there quicker. So I don't know if it's moving faster, if it's getting there quicker, or what it's doing. So I thought the manufacturers were kind of doing that for a fuel economy issue, which I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah, for resistance.
But it's also keeping that engine cooler, running those thinner weight oils. But again, if you let these things go as long as they do, and you build up the sludge, you build up the condensation that develops every time you start the car, and you let that dirty oil run through there, and some of these passages are so small, it's crazy. This oil gets to it. If you get them passages plugged up, guess what? We got no lubrication.
I think back years ago to, just big motors and how you would fight kind of maybe overheating a little bit, and you'd get big 4-core radiators, and you change thermostats, go down to like a 185 thermostat or something like that. And and now that's not the case at all. These things are running 210 degrees, and you're running a 195 thermostat, and the radiators paper thin, and they want them hotter for sure.
Well, I think they're in the hotter temperatures, they're more efficient.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say more horsepower, but I think it's more efficient
fuel economy
for how the engine performs and what it does and everything else like that too. So anyway, Jeff says, does thinner weight protect the components as well as thicker weights? I get the cooling, but what about protection? Well, here's what I'm going to say about that part of it is too, Jeff, is the best analogy I had years ago. And this is one reason why I have been scared to death on these motors to move them from the 1540 oil that I've been running to the 530, which I'm going to take it. I'm going to try it. I can't lose at this point. But think of a river. As the river water keeps running down the river, what happens? It keeps getting wider and wider and wider. So when you take a thicker oil that's got bigger molecules, that's what it's going to do to the clearance of the bearings, and everywhere everywhere that oil goes, it's going to wash it out and make those tolerance clearances. So that's why I was worried. I'm running 1540 oil in these race motors, put a thinner oil in there, and now I've got bigger clearances because that thicker oils went through there. Am I going to keep the same oil pressure? Well, guess what? We're going to find out, money, because I'm going to put the 5W30 oil in them, and we'll know what the oil pressure is doing by temperature and all that kind of stuff too. So, but I really think, years ago we ran the thicker oils thinking that would slow down oil consumption, because back years ago,
it was,
you put a quart of oil in every time you fuel up was a normal deal back then in those days. You start them up, puff blue smoke. Now today, everybody's mad if you got a little bit of smoke coming out of one when you start them. But years ago, they would burn up that oil. So you'd put a thicker oil in it, which would take up the clearance and stuff. Guess what? It would slow down the oil consumption. But back in those days, we didn't worry about it because we 80, 90,000 miles. What we're doing, we're turning apart and overhauling them.
Yep.
Today, 80, 90,000 miles, these things are just still broke in and still
Just
going
starting. Yeah.
if you maintain them correctly. But I think a lot of times we get so busy in our lives, we get going and we forget about changing that oil. And because these cars are so dependable. You can rely on them to do whatever. And, it's like right now, if I want to go jump in one of these cars out here and fly to Kansas City, we'd go and come back and not even think about it. Back
Never
in the
even
day,
pop the hood.
back in the day, we'd make sure the tires are pumped up, spare was pumped up. We had stuff in the trunk. We went through all the fluid levels, did all the stuff before we took out to Kansas City. We might even do it when we got to Kansas City and check it again.
Yeah.
Today, we didn't even worry about it. We get out there, we fly 90 mile an hour there, 90 mile an hour back, and pull in the garage and shut it off and don't worry about it. But I still have to. Hey, look at that! How'd that pop back up?
I don't know.
Josh, I'm magic.
No, I bet Gus did it.
I'm magic.
You think you did it? I bet Gus did it.
So anyway, that's what I was going to. Yeah, I bet he did too. Little turkey's in the background messing with us, isn't he? But anyway, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. We was over there at BG, and they showed me that stuff of a brand new Mustang, and the composites are already starting to build that quickly, that fast. So yeah, there it is. Gus sneaking around back there behind us, isn't he? Gus is our IT guy. He does a great job. He takes good care of us here, and I never thought we could find somebody as good as Gus to take care of us and help us with all of our IT, all of our computers, all that kind of stuff. The guy is phenomenal. So no one can hire him. He's not for hire. He's not for hire, nothing like that too. But Gus does a great job for us and everything else too. So Gus, thanks for getting our screen turned back. I got my mouse there. I just forgot to mess with it a little bit to keep it live and everything else too. So anyway, my biggest thing we're trying to get across here today is as you driving your cars every day, 5,000 miles max, even put a full synthetic in it. The full synthetics aren't that expensive anymore like they used to be years ago. As I remember back when full synthetics come out, the cost of them
3 times the price of a regular oil change.
And I said you're better off at changing the oil twice as much with a multi-blend instead of putting full synthetics. Today, not the case.
Yeah.
Put the full synthetics in there. You're going to, and Jeff, when you're talking about that, the most wear happens on a cold engine when you first initial fire it. How quick that oil gets to the places it needs is how quick it's going to have the less amount of wear on your engine. So a full synthetic, guess what? It's going to get there probably half as fast as a conventional oil, double what a conventional oil will get there from that part. So, but what I'm telling you is when you put the full synthetics in it, a lot of these manufacturers out there with these full synthetics think you can go 20 and 25,000 miles. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I mean, I think of, and that's one thing that, scares me on Mach-E owners or Lightning owners or, the EV owners. It doesn't necessarily have to be those specific models is,
right.
That you still have preventative maintenance. Like that doesn't take it away. So I think of the intervals of that 5,000 mile interval or people extending that of the everything else. How's the tires doing? How about tire pressures? What's the brakes look like? Is the wear okay on the tires? Steering and suspension stuff.
We're already pretty sure that the EVs are going to wear out tires faster than a normal car because of the regenerative braking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we looked up just yesterday. I was curious about it, but so a Mach-E, we looked up the gross vehicle weight of it. It was almost 6,000 pounds. I mean, that's compared to
I didn't realize they weighed that much.
Yeah, compared to like a Fusion or something like that. I mean, the amount of weight that's on there, and then the manufacturer will typically put a softer compound tire on it because it's an EV vehicle. You have no motor noise, you have no engine noise. There's no the drivetrain stuff like that, and so they've got to put that softer compound tire on there to make it quiet. Because otherwise you'll hear a bunch of road noise coming from the tires. So, there's even in a lot of the EVs, you see in the interior of the tire, there's a foam band that is adhered to the inside of the tire to keep the road noise down.
And I've seen those come apart too.
Yeah.
I've seen a picture of that. But remember, as you're braking and as you're accelerating, that tire's wearing both ways on an ICE vehicle. When you're braking, it's not really wearing that tire as bad. So in turn, to keep the tire life up there, you need to rotate those tires every 5,000 miles. So it's still a 5,000 mile interval. Granted, you're not going to get your oil changed in an EV.
Yeah.
But these other things that we do every 5,000 miles still needs to be done to an EV. And that's where everybody gets out there. There's no maintenance on an EV. Yeah, there is. It's just not an oil change. That's all that amounts to from that part. I mean, there's even a cooling system that still has to be checked.
Yep.
Granted, it needs probably go a couple of years before you need to worry about that. But you still got to worry about that pH level in the cooling system because those cooling systems are doing what? They're cooling the batteries. from that part. So, hey, 316-462-3673. Hey, let's get the phones ringing. Love to hear from you. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything you don't understand, or you want to talk about anything in the automobile world, we'd love to hear from you and comment on that too. So 316-462-3673 comes right in the front desk. Tell the girls you want to get patched in the podcast. We'll get you on here. And then Josh will get you out that package valued at over $130.
Got quite a few transports come on over the last couple of days.
We have
getting some inventory for sure.
I was talking to my drivers that drive up here. They said there's quite a few cars sitting in Kansas City, so that's good, and everything else too. I know the strike is still going on strong, and Bill Ford went out and made a pretty great statement, I thought, of talking about how the union and the UAW and Ford need to work together and realize the competition, that kind of thing. And now I thought it was a great statement. I really did. And Mr. Fain went right back out there and blasted him again and stuff like that for those comments and stuff too. But I think we've really got to, I hope they can get this resolved quickly. We get back to work and get things going and everything else like that too. And the money's that's been put on the table and the unions don't think that's good enough. I don't know. I see all sides of this equation. I've looked at it from the workers. I've looked at it from the UAW. I've looked at it from Ford. I've looked at it from us dealers.
Yeah.
But the ones I'm really concerned about is you as a consumer out there. What's it going to do to you? What's these strikes going to do? What's it going to do to the price of the cars? What's it going to do to the price of parts? What's it going to do to all the same situations? I think Fain thinks he can go out and just pay all these people more money, and the companies just
absorb it. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So that's the end consumer is the one I'm more concerned about, because you're the one that's going to get hurt more than anybody in this equation, because you're not going to get the products and services that you need and you want to take care of your car and keep it moving. In my opinion. Opinions are like, you know what, we all got one, but you got a comment about the strike, whatever. You want to get on the air and talk about that? Love to hear from you. Let's get it on 316-462-3673. Anyway, Josh, busy week in the shop. I know it's been crazy.
Yeah, it was. I had a situation happen the other day that it really just, I don't know, it really just took me back a little bit. Like I was kind of blown away, but then also, there's all sorts of people out there. Everybody's got their own ideas and ways of doing things and all that stuff. And so to kind of get into this a little bit. So what had happened was had an individual that went to the parts department and bought a part for a Mustang. And they had got a module, and the parts guy, it was a powertrain control module. But the parts guy, we got him the part, but also said, hey, this is going to have to be programmed to that vehicle. Specifically, like it's not just a plug and play thing. So just want to make you aware of that. And so then they brought him over to the service department, and I was visiting with this individual and speaking with him about, hey, what's going on? What's the deal? And it just blew me away what was going down. So the individual that had come in actually came in for looking at some RC parts initially, then from our Traxxas side of things.
Stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So getting his grandson into RC cars. Well, he goes out on the vehicle, or the Traxxas RC car that he was looking for parts for when he came in, he had found from off of Facebook Marketplace or somewhere online.
Yep, sure.
So went to that guy's house and bought this used car that he had for sale. And while he was there, he was conversating, hey, seeing this Mustang sitting over in the corner, and was saying, hey, what's going on with that thing? And the guy's like, oh, I've had several people look at it and can't get it to run and this, that, and the other. And so those two got together and were looking at this car. And
okay,
he says, well, I think I can fix it if I can get a manual for it. So the other guy got a manual.
No start situation, or even
so it would start and run, but it would just run real crappy.
Okay.
And like all sorts of lights, everything like that. The owner of the car was letting the guy that bought something from him off of Facebook Marketplace mechanically work on the car.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
after multiple other people's had looked at it. Well, that guy come up here and was looking for, because the owner's or the manual, the repair manual that they had didn't have all the detailed information that he thought he needed. So he come up here to try and get some more schematics, and just wanted the schematics of the PCM.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give in here. So I printed off all the PCM schematics. There was about 8 pages of wiring diagrams, but it was specific to that vehicle, and put them down. And he was going through them, trying to read them, and couldn't decipher, like, didn't know how to read a wiring diagram.
Okay.
So here this guy is that's working on this vehicle that he came off of Facebook Marketplace, and I don't know what the outcome of it was, but I said, look, here's the deal. We have a no charge diagnosis this is to the owner of the vehicle. I said, we have a no charge diagnosis. You're more than welcome to bring the vehicle up here. We'll take a look at it, see what's going on with it for you. And the 2 of them left. But he had made the statement that he had probably 7 or 8 different people look at it and nobody could figure it out.
Okay.
But I do not understand. One, I don't know. The guy that he had at that point didn't even know how to read a wiring diagram, and he's supposed to figure out this electrical issue on this car.
Can't fix him under the shade tree anymore, can we, Josh?
Now I think of how many of the 7 or 8 other guys that had looked at it, and what kind of condition the car is in from taking unnecessary things apart or poking or prodding on unnecessary things. But then as a consumer or the owner, the car's been sitting over a year or a year and a half. And the headache that you would have had to have gone through dealing with every one of those 7 or 8 guys or whatever that's looked at the car and touched it. And then not to mention he had a list of stuff that he had replaced on the car. It was, I mean, there was at least 9 or 10 parts that they had.
And nothing's fixed it, right?
And nothing's fixed it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm just blown away or mythed by why waste that energy? Why waste that? Just take it to somebody that knows what to do and get it done. It just blows me away.
Yeah, I get it. Josh, it's back to, again, I got in this kind of the same scenario, not the same scenario, but I got involved with a guy the same way, using a code reader instead of a scanner. And remember, code reader is going to get you all the way deep as you have to possibly go to figure out these codes. But really, the real problem is whatever code that code reader is reading might not even be close to really the real problem of what it is if you put a scanner in it. So that's what I told this guy. I said, stop looking at a code reader, get it to me, bring it to me. Let me put a scanner in it. Let's scan all the codes, scan all the modules to see which one, because one module can take out another.
Certainly.
And that code reader can't read those codes, which really causes a problem, but it's reading the codes of the module that's down, because this other module had taken it down. So it got here yesterday. Finally, the tow truck did bring it here yesterday. So it got here yesterday afternoon. So we'll see what we can figure out what's happening with it, what's going to go with that particular car and everything else too. But I just don't, I can't stress it enough, everybody, is these cars are so technical, and what's happening with those cars and stuff like that. If you don't have a proper trained technician, if you don't have the right tools, if you don't have the right training, I mean, we got the best technicians in the world, but these guys are consistently training and getting better and knowing what's happening with these cars. And it's fun to come back here in the shop now, and you got 2 or 3 guys, it used to be years ago, you think they were just messing around, but now you got 2 or 3 guys are putting their heads together to say, hey, I had this problem, or hey, look at this or look at that or whatever. And, that's what's happening in our shop today. I go back the other day, and there's 3 guys under this truck, and guess what? They're fighting a rear end deal, but he's got a couple of guys over saying, hey, what am I doing wrong here? What do we got to do? And that's what's so great with the amount of technicians we have.
Certainly. Well, just the years of experience and, the situations that everybody gets involved in, and the experience that's built off of that is huge.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in a 1 or 2 tech shop. Of course, obviously the volume of vehicles that you would see at that point would be less, but it would definitely be a lot harder to navigate through that for sure.
So, and it's another deal, preventative maintenance stuff. There's a lot of shops out there can do preventative maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And I had a gentleman ask me about that the other day. And I just said, be careful. from that part. But, as I drove in this morning and watched our line out coming out of Quick Lane and stuff like that too, and everybody that trusts us to go in and service these cars and putting the right products in these cars, the right fluids, the right filters, the right everything in behind there is what we're trying to do. So anyway, hey, let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries? Anything about the old lovely strike that's going on? Or anything at all? Gus is back in the background playing again.
Oh.
I don't know what he's got up there. I don't know. Maybe I jacked it up again. I don't know. I've been trying to play with my mouse to keep it going, Josh, but maybe I did something wrong again. All right, Gus, get us back up, will you? Can you guys announce the car show for November 4th? God, we forgot about that too, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to grab one of those flyers. I left it laying on my desk this morning.
Yeah, so November the 4th, we are going to be.
Why don't just have them call in?
Yeah, Billy, call on in here and let's talk about the car show coming up November 4th. We're going to do the radio show from over there from 9 to 10 over on there. It's over at
there's a church over at
Passageways is what he's saying. Yep. So yeah, Billy, call in here. It's 316-462-3673. Going to have a lot of fun November the 4th. Hope it's not too cold, Josh.
It'll be fine. Sunny and 70.
Sunny and 70. So yeah, a great car show. It's presented by the Mustang Club, and everybody thinks, oh, you just bring your Mustangs. No, they're inviting every type of car, anything you want to bring to this car show. So Billy, get on the phone here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on with the car show. But we'll be there on the radio show and stuff like that too. We gave some great door prizes. So I know if we gave some, a lot of other people are going to give some door prizes and stuff, a lot of stuff to have fun with there.
Yeah, excuse me. I had that flyer sitting on my keyboard this morning and was going to grab it when I came over and got sidetracked. And that never happens though, right?
Hey, Delbert says it's not going to be warm, sunny and 70.
Delbert.
It's sunny and 70 where he's at, too, isn't it?
It's going to be sunny and 71, probably.
71. Yeah, 72. So anyway, we'll see if we'll get Billy on the phone here, and we'll have a great car show November the 4th. Just right over here. I think it's at Central and Tyler, but don't quote me on that exact address, but we'll get that on there for you, too, from that part. So anyway, Josh, what else we got on the agenda here today? We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We got the lovely PRI coming up.
We do. Yeah,
that's ready coming around the corner too, from that part too. So
this next week's going to be pretty busy around the dealership. We do a couple of different things for Halloween, from a pumpkin carving contest to a Halloween trick or treat deal that hand out candy and stuff like that. So I got that coming up. I just cannot believe that it's freaking the end of October already. I mean, I know it's not, but it is.
Pretty damn close.
And we're talking about Black Friday is another thing that we're gearing up for.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, we got our 10 cars already.
Yeah.
This is a record. We've had them this quick and this fast. So everybody, if you're not familiar with our Black Friday, got to be in line by 7, but I'd be in line by 6:45. We're gonna have 10 cars we will reveal on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty pumped about the 10 we got.
I would agree with that as well. It definitely kind of fell together. We there's situations and scenarios I think we get into that where it comes down to the down to the wire around this place, not specifically with just Black Friday, just in general, but
controlled chaos.
It is exactly controlled chaos from that side of things. So I'm not sure if somebody's got a fever. We're already geared up and ready to go for this. So
yeah, so you don't want to miss Black Friday out here at Mel Hambelton Ford. It's always fun to do. It's exciting to do. We'll be here bright and early, but we'll draw the line at 7 o'clock, and then we'll start drawing numbers for those 10 cars. And like I said, we'll reveal them on Wednesday evening about 6 o'clock. We'll parade them out, put them out on the lot so you can see them and stuff like that too. If you don't know this, we've got those 10 cars. They're great cars. They've been through the shop, and yes, we spent a lot of money on them this year compared to what we did in the past on these cars and making them right, ready to go. The tires are good. The brakes are good. The suspension good. Their safety, everything else from that part to get you taken care of. But it starts first car is $99, and we go all the way to $999 on those cars, and it's always a fun and a hoot to see who gets those cars and stuff like that too. And so you don't want to miss it. I mean, it's a great time, great fun. And then after that, Lisa turns around and has all kinds of prizes,
all
and stuff
sorts of other prizes and stuff like that
too. There's no more better, funner place to be on Black Friday than out here at the Big Corner. So hopefully it's not too cold. We have a couple years that it's kind of cold and stuff, but we'll see if but you don't want to miss it. And it's a lot of fun stuff too. So anyway, whenever we're going to get Billy to call in and talk about the car show. He's coming.
We're getting him patched through here. So.
Sweet. We'll get Billy on here, get all the exact technical stuff on the car show coming up November the 4th. again, we'll be live out there doing the radio show from there, from that part. And if the weather's pretty decent, Josh, I don't know, I might have to break the old 500 out of the bubble and come out and have some fun with that too. So we'll get Billy patched in here and talk about the car show and get that fixed up. Got him coming. Here he goes.
Yep. Good morning. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Yeah, this is Bill Lindsay with South Central Kansas Mustang Club.
How are you this morning?
Fine. How you doing?
We're doing very good. Hey, I apologize. I grabbed that flyer. It was on my desk this morning. I was going to talk about it, and I walked off and left it. So
no worries. So yeah, I just heard you guys ask me to maybe call in. So.
Yep. Can you give us the full line of details on this thing?
Okay, it's Saturday, November 4th at Grace Point Church. And
Grace Point is at Tyler and Central, right?
Tyler, the old Cinemas West Theater.
Okay.
I get the address here. It's 9035 West Central, I believe it is.
Okay.
9035 West Central. It's 9 to 3. Open to all makes, models, bikes, and it's benefiting passageways.
Okay.
And it's a donation of $20 a car, and we'll have. I think we're going to have a raffle going on and a few other things, door prizes, and I know Riverside Cafe did a coupon for buy one get one half off during the show, and I think O'Reilly's is coming on board, so it's just to help out Jennifer and the gang over there. So they're trying to raise money for their second home for the female homeless veterans.
Well, that's a good cause. We need to help and support. So, Saturday, November the 4th, 9 to 3.
Yes.
You're going to have raffles going on and everything else too. And $20
raffle. What's that, Phil?
$20 minimum to get in for each car, right? Yeah. But you'll accept
$20.
Yeah, you accept more, of course, right, per car, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the other thing. It's an all makes, all models, but it's the Mustang Club doing it. I thought that was pretty cool. Recognizing that there's other vehicles out there too. So
that was when we first started handing the flyers out for that. Everybody goes, "Well, it's South Central Kansas, Mustang Club doing the show. Wonderful. It's an all Mustang, all Ford show." And no. We do our show in the summer, and of course they have the all Ford show back in September. So I said it's not. This is open to all makes and models. So just to benefit, like I said, just to benefit Jennifer and her group over there, and to help our veterans out.
That's a very good cause, very good everything. So everybody get your hot rods out. And it still amazes me how I'll go to different car shows and stuff, and all these hot rods show up that I've never seen before and stuff that's been hidden away in garages and stuff. So get your hot rods out. Let's go out and support the Pathways. And 9 to 3, Saturday, November the 4th, we'll be there live 9 to 10 with the radio show. Who knows, Josh? We might have to give a few things more away in the radio show that day too.
Yeah.
While we're doing that.
And we want to thank Mel Hambelton for their continued support for our show. So,
well, what's what we do? We try to give back to our communities where it's good and helping the Pathways. It sounds like it's a great cause. We need to help support and stuff too. So appreciate that, Billy. We'll be there with flying colors.
If they want to get a hold of me, I can get my number out. People, if anybody has any questions,
okay.
That's 316-880-5988.
All right. Any questions whatsoever, give Billy a call. He'll be able to answer that, whatever, and get you lined up and everything else too. Is there a way to pre-register the cars or not? Or are you just the day of the show?
We're just going to do a day of the show.
Okay.
It's just going to go through and, just go through that's, kind of a rough parking lot to do over there as far as, in and out. So we're just going to have one in, one out. And, we are recommending anything the clubs want to park together, get there early. So we try to get everybody parked together. So
yeah, exactly. So,
but But the entrance will be there just on the northwest corner of the church there, right behind Taco Bell there.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense right where you're at there.
Everything roped off, on the just to keep other traffic from flowing to that parking lot. So
sure. Okay. Well, fantastic, Billy. It'll be a fun time, November the 4th, and hopefully we get a lot of cars, get a lot of money raised up for the pathways and everything else too. So if you got it, any questions whatsoever about the car show, give Billy a call. And Billy, what's your number again?
316-880-5988.
Perfect. Sounds good, Billy. Hey, we're excited to come out there and have some fun and see how much money we can raise for the pathways and stuff too. So anyway, so we probably ought to, let's see here. I'm going to look at a calendar here real quick. We've got 2 weeks. Yeah, we got 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So
2 weeks.
2 weeks, fantastic. So maybe next Saturday too, call in again. So we can remind everybody again what's going on November the 4th and stuff too, Billy. And or if you got some other people, if your club that want to call in and talk about the show too, what's going to happen stuff, be more than happy to have them on the air too and talk about the car show November the 4th.
All right, thanks a lot,
Billy. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Take care.
You bet. All right. Excited for the car show November the 4th, 9 to 3. Help supporting the pathways. So Delbert's got another question. With the strikes and 24s will be a little delayed. So talk about a little more on your predictions once the strike is over. Boy, howdy. I wish I had that prediction, Delbert. I don't know. I do know that Ford came out and did a broadcast with us to let us know of the cars that have been at the plants that are shut down. The amount of vehicles that are still sitting there waiting to get shipped out. So there's quite a few cars still waiting to be shipped. So I think we haven't seen any kind of a delays whatsoever yet, but I know we're going to eventually, there's going to be a ripple effect come down through there. But what it's going to be, what it's going to turn out to be, man, I wished I knew. I wished I had that magic wand, magic deal, whatever, say what it's going to happen. But again, that's where I'm still saying the most hurt, in my opinion, of these strikes, where it's really going to hurt the most, it's going to hurt you, the end consumer.
Oh, certainly.
Not to get the products and services you want at the time you want them. And number two, I don't care what anybody says, it's just going to drive the price of these cars up from that part and everything else. I want everybody to have a good wage and everything else too. So I hope we can get this thing put behind us and get moving back forward again and everything else too.
But we also want everybody to be able to purchase a vehicle at a fair and competitive price, as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So anyway, I hope the strike's over quick. I hope it gets done so we can move on and we can keep moving forward. I mean, we just come out of COVID, started getting a few things back on track, and then boom, here comes a strike. It just seems like another hit after another hit to try to keep inventory and everything available for the end consumer and stuff too. So let's hope and pray that this thing gets done and over with and we can move on and make everybody happy from that standpoint. So anyway, Josh, it's a beautiful Saturday out there.
It is. Yep.
It's fun to hear what's going to happen November the 4th. Got an exciting week coming up with Halloween coming around the corner too, stuff. So it's going to be fun.
And then not Halloween, after Halloween, Thanksgiving. We were talking about that already. It's early this year as well, as far as being the earliest Thursday that it could be as well. So the fleet of rental vehicles that Stan has over there, definitely, if that's something that you're needing to be a part of,
don't forget about that, and get in line for your car. If you need something bigger to get to grandma's house, or a 12 or 15 passenger van, just get an early reservation set up with Stan over there at Go to Rent. So
just made a reservation with somebody the other day for Thanksgiving.
Very cool. Very cool. So anyway, we talked a lot about BG already. Everything exciting stuff we had with them yesterday over on the Dinos. That was fun and cool. And before we get out of here, let's talk about Big Corner Creative. Yeah, it's our company we have, but it's a great advertising company. Jesse's got a great crew of people over there. Anything you need to do to help advertise your company or anything else from that part, if you need a vehicle wrap window tint, as those guys say, just Google us.
I was on the phone with him yesterday.
Yep.
Talking about something that we had going on at the store or whatever, needing his help with something. And then he had said, "Hey, hold on just a second. My phone's ringing." And it was somebody calling in needing pricing on window tint, or supposed to be on Monday. So, but yeah, and then I said, how's the tinting side of this going? And he says, man, it's just crazy.
Yep.
And then that individual that he was talking to wanted the whole front windshield tinted. And so I asked him about that, because I was like, man, it just seems like the visibility at night would be so restricted. And he says, man, a lot of people do it. A lot of people put it on there. And
the the pro to that to me is, not me seeing the car out, whatever, but the sun rays not beating on my interior and all that kind of stuff too.
Protecting that interior on the vehicle and being so much cooler, I would definitely agree with that for sure. So, but it is becoming more and more popular. You see it on a lot of trades and used cars and stuff like that for sure. So,
exactly.
And then he said he did it to his truck. He loves it. So
I don't know. I get it. Everybody's different. That's what it amounts to. So, hey, again, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for all the calls we had today and the comments over on the right-hand side of the call. So everybody, thanks again. Have a great Saturday, and we'll talk to you next Saturday, 9:00. Everybody have a great weekend.